listen, just a huge welcome to everyone, and thank you so much for joining this webinar in particular. I mean, and I really do mean it when I say thanks for being here, or at least catching the recording. Most of our members are in the Northern Hemisphere, and it's summertime up here, so it's time for holidays and that kind of thing. So, you know, I mean, it's a quieter time. But I also think it's a time where some people are able to put in some study into Forex trading and be ready to hit the road running come September. Because, and maybe before that, the markets have been more subdued lately, and we just haven't had the action that we normally would have for either long-term or short-term trading. But it'll return. I should have said, for those that don't know me, I'm Vic Noble, and I'll be conducting this webinar, updating you on our Coach's Corner Forex Training services. Darko's not able to make it, so I'll just look after it, but I'm very familiar with what he does, and I'll be running over all of it, showing you some great trade examples of the longer term trading as well, and so just stay tuned. But we've worked very hard to make our services as all-inclusive as possible. And I think you'll see that there's nobody who can't benefit from what we now offer, and we're quite happy about that. So, oh, I have one more little announcement here. Wait a second here. Let me just wait for it. You guys see that? We are proud grandparents. My wife and I, again, our youngest daughter just had this little baby here. Her name is Liv. And it was not even 2 days ago now. It was on the 26th at like, I think 4:30 in the afternoon. She was born. So anyway, here we go. It's so much fun. I just love it. Anyway, before we get going, I do need to read out the disclaimer. And just because it's all, thank you very much, everybody, for the congrats. I see them coming up there. Because it's important that you understand risk in anything, and in trading, we sure want you to be as safe as possible. The products and referenced at this site are analytical tools only and are not intended to replace individual research or licensed investment advice. Unique experiences and past performances do not guarantee future results. Trading currencies involves substantial risk. There's always the potential for loss. Your trading results may vary. No representation is being made that these products and any associated advice or training will guarantee profits or not result in losses from trading. Never use anything ever other than risk capital for trading. Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate it. By the way, if you aren't following us on social media and you want to, you'd like to, that way you can keep up with everything that's going on. Just, you know, but I've posted these, or I've put up these slides here on YouTube, and there's our channel. You can get the recording and pause this and get these links here and just go to them. And on Darko's podcast, I've got a couple of episodes in there, but it's mostly Darko, and they're really good. They just dive into his background, and he's very, very transparent about what's happened to him and his development as a Forex trader, and it's pretty good. This podcast is one of the most popular. It's either number 1 or 2 in the world in Forex podcasts on Spotify, I think. So it's pretty commendable. And this is LinkedIn, and he's recently got onto LinkedIn, and he's got, I don't know, like, what is, Vic, you know, it's like 1,200 connections. So he's really popular on LinkedIn right now too, so you can catch him on there. And then of course, Facebook, here's our Facebook page as well. I'm gonna start off a little bit differently than normal. And I want to start off with a few comments about achieving something. I just think they're kind of relevant to what we're doing here, or getting something that you really want. Because it's directly applicable to you and to your trading, okay? And above all, Darko and I want you to have the best possible chance to succeed and to have a good experience with us. You know, not something where you feel ripped off or misled or manipulated or anything like that. So I assume that you're here because you want to learn to trade and you want to learn to trade profitably. Well, we can definitely show you a profitable trading approach. Being shown something and being able to executed are different things, but we think that with what we have here, it should be made like pretty easy to follow. Well, we hope it is anyway. But there's a few questions, okay, and before you can get good at something. And first, and for trading, is it an approach that works for you based on your lifestyle and your availability to trade? Because maybe you have a job or maybe you have something else going on. And secondly, are you committed to learning to trade, or are you just kind of kicking tires? Because, you know, getting truly committed is just something that's much, much different than saying, you know, you want to do something. And when you really want something and you truly have this burning desire that you, for anything, you'll find a way to make it happen. Okay, and just think about things in your own life. But what happens is that very often people say that they want something, but their actions say otherwise. They let themselves off the hook with excuses. And I'm not pointing fingers, believe me, I've done it more times than I want to admit. Starting something and not really gotten into it, and even paid for things and whatever. But I'll tell you this, when I have developed a real deep desire to do something and have not let myself off the hook, I've done really well at anything. And I know you can say the same thing about your own passions. Maybe you're, I don't know, good at playing an instrument. Maybe you're good at a particular sport. Maybe you're really good at cooking. I don't know, whatever it is. You got good because you got focused and you got committed and at getting good, and it was just something that you wanted. It kind of makes sense. I've been really lucky in my life, and I've been given so many great opportunities from, you know, grew up being able to have a university education. I was able to become a fixed wing and a helicopter pilot with a IFR rating, and I was a futures broker for 5.5 years. Like some of you know, I'm a very passionate runner. I run pretty much every day, and on and on. And like I said, you know, I can tell you this: anything that I've ever passionately committed myself to, I've become good at. I've achieved, and I know that you are the same. I'm nothing special. Okay, what I've done is absolutely nothing special, but you do need to take some action to achieve something or to get something. Like, you know, I couldn't just say, hey, I want to be a runner, you know, and just, you know, become, no, you got to go out and run. You know, I can't just say I want to be a helicopter pilot. I had to go and do the training. So whether or not you ever join our service or either of our services or anything, stop letting yourself off the hook when it comes to something that you really want to do in your life, because it ruins your potential. Right? And I just believe we all deserve more than mediocrity. So that's my little opening spiel. But I just thought it was important to kind of give that little backdrop. So, okay, let's move on. And as you may know, we have split our Coach's Corner services into two parts, one for longer term trading and the other for short-term trading. I was just checking to make sure I've got that I'm moving my slides ahead. Sometimes I forget to unpause the slides and they're stuck. Anyway, I see they are. So yeah, long-term and short-term trading. So let's have a look at these. And as you most probably know, back in November, we split the Coach's Corner training into two services. One of them is for longer term, which is swing trading mostly, and some position trading. That's run by Darko. And then we have the short-term trading, which is, you know, day and scalp, day trading and scalping run by me. And I want to give you just a short backdrop on why we did this. Like what we do, the reality of it all is that we rely on feedback from our traders and our members to know if what we are providing is what they need the most. Okay, is it what they want? Is it helping them? Okay, and what we found is that having short-term day trading and scalping and long-term swing trading and position trading under the same umbrella, under the same service, it was just overwhelming, and it was confusing, and it for most people anyway, it didn't serve our clients' best needs. It's like, it's not that you can't trade both ways, right? Because we have actually a lot of members that do, but the reality is that most traders are better off in the appropriate service for them, especially when they start. Not every trader. I'm not saying it because, like I say, some are good at both, but I'm just saying most traders. The other huge reason for splitting the services into a longer term and shorter term was that, and this is being just dead honest with you guys, Darko was getting completely swamped with everything he was doing. It was just very, very challenging. He is, after all, human, so we're finding out. Okay, I mean, but he's got a wife, he's got 3 kids, he's got a full-time job outside of trading, and here he was putting in 16 and 18-hour days just to keep up with everything for 4.5 years. You know, try it for, I don't know, 1 week and see how you do. And I don't care who you are, it'll take a toll on you, and worse yet, on everyone around you, okay? It's unsustainable in the long run. You start missing quality family time and just other things that you want to do to have a nice life. So by completely changing to a longer term approach, Darko's been able to vastly improve his quality of life, which is awesome because we want him to be here a long time. He's such a good trader and market analyst and price chart reader and so all that. So while at the same time continuing to provide incredibly good training. And I'll talk about his results shortly and when I get into his service a bit more. So basically, the two main reasons for splitting the service, the Coach's Corner, into two services were, first of all, to give traders a choice how they want to trade, and then, you know, based on their own situation. And then secondly, to lift a huge burden off of Darko's shoulders, okay, while at the same time keeping up a very, very high quality training service. And by the way, it's interesting, you know, I would say now that Darko is more passionate about trading and teaching than he has ever been. He just absolutely loves this approach. So there was just no reason not to do it, okay? So let's have a look at the two services. This is, I'll talk first about Darko's long-term trading, what we call his long-term trading academy. And by long-term, basically, we're talking swing trading mostly. It could be position trading as well. Folks, if you simply can't be at your computer very much, this is the service that you want. And here's the thing, Darko's results from long-term trading have actually been at least as good as they were than when he was only day trading, you know, and going through those 16 and 18-hour days with far less stress, far less need to be at his computer, like 12 hours per day less time needed for providing this service. That's a big chunk of your time. And I mean, I just don't know how anyone could possibly not have time to trade this way, because it just does not require a lot of time. And shortly, I'm going to go over what you can expect in terms of time required, okay? And because after all, I mean, that's the whole idea of a longer term trading approach, right? So here's what you need to know about this service. First of all, and this goes for both of our services, we do not run a call alert service, okay? We don't, we want our traders to become independent. That's why we have the new member quick start guide for each service. There's one in each of them, okay? And you'll hear me say this, and you're probably going to get sick of me saying it, and probably hear Darko say it. It's why we say to go over it many times, multiple times, because you don't become independent by sitting at your computer waiting for someone to tell you what to do. You know, if that person goes away for whatever reason, is gone, now what? Okay, so, but we definitely are here. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. We are definitely here to help you and to answer questions and be with you all along the way. Of course we are. We're in the education business. But just so you know, up front, Darko is not in the chat room much. Okay, however, he's always accessible by just texting him in the chat room, by sending him an email. When you text him in the chat room, actually, he'll get back to you as soon as he's able, which is usually within an hour or so. Quite often it's right away, unless he's sleeping or whatever. But just realize he's not sitting at his computer waiting for people to start talking and asking questions and chatting and blah, 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 which is what he used to do. And with longer term trading, you don't need to do that. I'm telling you this so that we're completely transparent and upfront about what to expect, okay? Because the whole idea of longer term trading and a longer term approach is that you don't have to be around to micromanage every little thing, okay? So, for example, for trade management, as I've heard us say many times, is the holy grail of trading. You get good at trade management, your career is going to turn around in trading. I'll guarantee you that. But for trade management, there's trade management suggestions and strategies that are covered in the new member quick start guide, right? So because before you ever get into a trade, you should always know how you're going to manage it. And that can change. I mean, people, you know, different people manage their trades differently, and it's all good. It's fine. You have to walk before you run with this. So you have to figure out, by that I mean you got to figure out what works for you. We have some suggestions that, you know, are probably a good way for most people to start. And after that, you can, you know, keep stats, change your approach on your trade management, especially for taking profits and so on. But anyway, so now I'm going to go over a few more things to know, including the time requirement. Okay, so, and then I'm going to show you some recent trade examples of exactly how this trade's set up. So let's have a look at this right now. And that's, I'm sure people wondering, okay, well, how much time do you realistically need in order to know what to do each day? Well, at the beginning, okay, you're going to need to put some time in to go over the new member quick start guide. I mean, how else are you going to learn it? There's no magic pill. And I know that most people want to, you know, join something, any service, and start making money right away and get it, not a, well, call it get rich quick, whatever you want. This is not a get rich quick plan, okay? It requires you to put a bit of time into this thing. And I'm just being really honest here so that you're not all kind of bummed out because you have to go over some videos. And this is why we continually tell everyone to be patient, put in the time, and the results will follow. You don't have to eat the elephant in one bite. Take your time. You just go over a few of the quick start guide videos every day. Maybe make a little schedule up with whatever time you have, and just work your way through them. That's all you need to do. And then once you do that, guess what? Go through them again multiple times. You'll be so much further ahead. I guarantee you will. At the same time, you could be listening to the pre-market analysis videos that Darko produces every day, except on non-farm payroll Fridays. He doesn't put them out on those days. And that way you start to get a bit of a sense of what they're all about. They may not make sense at first, right? Okay, and that's okay. You know, the more you hear them, the more you'll make sense. You'll have questions, but please, please, please be patient. And in fact, listen, there's nothing wrong with even skipping the PMAs for the first week or 2 or 3, whatever you want, so while you're getting up to speed with the new member quick start guide videos. Okay, don't have I know there's a lot of sometimes a fear of missing out, the old FOMO mentality. Okay, the markets aren't going anywhere. Once you are pretty comfortable with the approach and the materials all make sense, or more or less, it's then going to be a matter of listening to the daily PMA videos and putting in any pending orders. And Darko points them all out in his PMAs. Here's a setup, and you can see where he's going to be looking to trade and everything. Okay, so but obviously, again, it's just going to take a little bit more time at the beginning. When I say, you know, I would say you can be looking at 30 to 60 minutes or so when you're up to speed with everything, to listen to the PMA and all that kind of thing. You can actually speed it up on the on our player, on our video players. You can actually speed them up, and once you get used to that, I mean, I can play them at double speed. So a 20 or 25 minute video doesn't take me very long, because his voice sounds just as I won't say as good, but at double speed as it does at normal speed. So, and that way you can go through, because you're looking for the ones, you want to make sure that the trades make sense, that you can see the ones that he wants to trade at, and it'll be really obvious. You don't have to spend a lot of time, but you do have to go through it at the beginning, okay? So again, Darko's education service is educational, which so is mine. I'm going to go over mine shortly. And the idea, the whole plan here, is to take it from stage 1 to a stage 4 trader, where you're consistently profitable. And Darko does this by showing you currency pairs that are setting up based on his approach. Okay, so that you too can start seeing these setups all on your own in advance, which is kind of nice. In advance, right? Not, oh, there's a trade you could have taken after the fact. So I'm going to show you a couple of Darko's recent trades. And these are, like I say, the long-term trade setups. And you'll see what I mean here. Now, this is the Aussie Canadian dollar pair. And these are trades that were actually put on and traded. And so I want you to look in the up. See, the way he does this is he's got a monthly chart in the upper left, a weekly chart in the upper right, a daily chart in the lower left, and then his entry time frame 4-hour chart. Okay. Now, if it's a position trade, his entry time frame would be a daily chart. But just for now, stick with this with the 4-hour chart. So what he's looking for here is, first of all, and this is what I've been teaching in the Coach's Corner since 2006. Where is support and resistance? Because that's where we want to trade. We don't just trade in the middle of nowhere. We want to be at a level like here and here, support, and it hits it again, and on the weekly chart. So what happens? Well, when that happens, if you go down to the 4-hour chart, right, we hit this 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 level of support on the weekly, monthly, and weekly chart. Price goes below it, and then look at this rally. This is what we call a rotation. And when that happens, it's a really strong signal where you want to buy it back at the level of support. Okay. You know, I won't get into all the details on this right now. I want you just to show you the idea of it and what happens. So this thing had a nice rally, I think up to 115 pips. When you're in these trades, now it becomes trade management. If you look on the daily chart, you see these levels in the lower left. These are levels of resistance, expected resistance. That's what got hit there. This might have been this spike here might have been a news release. I don't know, but there are places where you can look to take profit. And then it comes all the way down. So you never ever let a trade like this become a losing trade. Okay. Chris is saying, if these are long term, how long? Did I answer your question just then? We don't know. We're getting into them because you're looking for opposing levels to take profit at, Chris. So it could be an opposing level on a daily, weekly, or monthly chart. And what you want to do is say to yourself, well, if I get out, you know, if price on my weekly chart up here, if price rallied up and say I got into this level here and here, what would my reward risk be at that point? Would it be 2 to 1? Or what if I went for this level up here? And there's different ways to manage your trade. Like you could run a trailing stop. In this case, as price starts to break into new highs, a lot of people like to move their stops underneath these lows right here, okay? And eventually it's going to get hit. But again, those are good questions and something that you'll develop over time. On the Aussie Swiss pair, kind of the same thing as the last trade. We hit this level of really good monthly, the support, and then it breaks it, rallies above it, and comes back to it. Weekly is at the same level right here, really good level. What was the reaction? So because this is at a big uptrend up in here, this is a good level in here to look for a trade. And we go up and down, and when we swing up higher, we have a swing break in here. Here was the entry right here on this one. And now again, it's going to depend on your trade management. If you could have taken some profit, it comes up into this level of old resistance. Do you remove risk? Do you move your stop from here up underneath here? Nothing wrong with that at all. And I'm not giving you exact answers here because there aren't any. These are general trade management principles that are covered in the New Member Quick Start Guide. And at first, when you're starting, I would recommend that you be more conservative with this and not too aggressive, and just get the risk out of these trades and give them a shot, give them a chance to go. Okay. So, and if you didn't do anything on this pair, and I know Darko did not, so it went all the way down and stopped him out for a full loss. And that's totally fine. Don't be afraid of taking full losses. That's just part of the deal. Here's the British pound Japanese yen pair. This pair was at a really good look at this level of I'm sorry, I want to look at this level up here, this top level here. So what had happened on this pair, we were coming off of this heavy resistance, right? That's this heavy level of resistance up here. You see this monthly chart where it tested it and dropped down? And after that happened, Darko noticed this level and this level was a place just to watch, to see what's going on. What did price do? Look what it did in the 4-hour chart. We broke below this level and below this level. That's definitely a sign that we want to be looking to trade. And we got this background space in between here. These, like I say, this is all explained in the New Member Quick Start Guide. But this is where the sell was on this one here. Okay, this was the move down. You see this bottom dotted line? If you look up at the weekly chart, I want you to notice something. See this? Resistance, resistance, support, support, and that's where it hit and bounced straight back up again. That's 400 pips on that trade. And again, he took this trade. I'm not making this up after the fact. Okay, so this is a 4-hour chart, what they call a set and forget entry, and everything. All the pressures to the downside at this point, and that was it. So pretty sweet little move on that. And I got to show you this fourth trade. It was on oil. And like this approach can be used on any tradable asset, right? And on oil, some of the members asked, hey, can you have a look at whatever the S&P, or can you have a look at the DAX? Can you have a look at oil, whatever? Yeah, sure, no problem. Or gold. So here's the trade that's set up on oil. And then he showed this, again, way before it happened. On the oil trade, we're at this monthly resistance. We're at double necklines, what they call double necklines on the weekly resistance, right? The daily chart had what we call structural damage. It goes down. Look at this negative candle and goes below this swing low, rallies back up. On the 4-hour chart, right, we had this rotation to the downside where it went higher and closed higher and then went lower and closed lower and back to here, right? This is where you want to be selling. Now, the stop goes above these highs in here, and there's just nothing to do. This is the thing about long-term trading. Like, that's a lot of 4-hour candles in here because this is compressed. You know, a lot of 4-hour candles. And the idea is you don't micromanage these things and to death. You just leave them alone. You've got your risk. You know what it is. There was some red flag news that came out right here. Might have been oil inventories. I'm not sure what it was. And when that happens, we move our stop down from here down to above this high. The red flag news is over here. And now we have a reduced risk, like a reduced loss if our stop gets hit. This thing went straight down. Look where it went down to. Look left. See this? Old resistance now becomes support here and here and here. That's a pretty good move. That was a 9-cent per barrel move. That's a big move, 900 points basically, okay? So I hope that kind of makes sense. Now, I'm gonna go over the short-term trading now, and this is the service that I look after, okay? And we have a very similar new member quick start guide for short-term trading. It's the same, basically the same thing. There are some great reasons to trade short-term. Now, it's not for everybody because you do have to have a little more time, but I'm gonna go over a few of the reasons for trading, and then I'm going to deal with a few misconceptions, and I'm also going to show you some scalp setups. In fact, I can even show you one from today. This is short-term is for people that want a more active approach, okay? But still really, really risk controlled. I don't take big risks ever. I just don't, okay? I've been around this game for a long, long time, guys. I started, geez, you know, from my futures broker days, and way before that I started, and I've been doing this. I know about the perils of taking risk on it. You just got to be careful with it, right? You have to take risk on to trade, that's trading, but you have to control it very, very carefully, okay? First of all, if you don't have a big account size, okay, or you don't want to put much money into trading, maybe you don't want to risk a lot of money at first, then short-term trading is a great way to go. Why? Because the pip risk per trade is really small. Like, it's usually 10 to 15 pips. It might go as high as 25 pips on a really volatile pair. So let's say you have like a $500 account. Well, we always recommend you don't risk more than 0.5% of your account on a trade. That's half of 1%, super small. And you can still do really well doing that. Okay, this is the thing that I think a lot of people think, oh, well, that's ridiculous. I can't make it. Yeah, you can. You can do really well. 0.5% of $500 is $2.50. So if you only have, say you got a 12 pip risk, then that's about $1.20, something like that. That means you can trade 2 micro lots. If you lost, you'd lose. And what would you lose? At $2.40. Okay, and you would, if you lost on 2 micro lots, you would not be overexposing your account. And when you're learning, trading just a couple of micro lots is a great way to start, no matter how big your account size is. That's what I actually recommend, right? There's just no point in risking more until you've proven to yourself that you can be consistently profitable, right? You can always put more money in, but prove it to yourself first, okay? Next, can you imagine that if you are reasonably good in picking out key levels of support resistance for trading off of, and by the way, I show these levels in a video every single day for our members, and you only have small pip risk, like 12 pips in the example I just used, that you can get 2 to 1 reward risk profits very quickly. And if you get a more extended move, you can get some very, very juicy reward risk trades. And by the way, if price doesn't move for you, we have trade management protocols that will generally mean either a break-even trade or a much smaller loss than taking a full loss. So we've got everything covered. We've just We're just really on top of all that stuff. Next, with the ability to get on board small pip risk trades with good reward risk, then faster account growth is possible, right? If, big if, you trade properly. If you don't do it right, you can definitely chew up your account in a big hurry. Okay. Another important feature of short-term trading is that because there's going to generally be a lot more trades than longer term, you can get stats much quicker. So you'll know your win-loss. Most importantly, you know your average win versus your average loss. And your stats can also give you feedback on your trade management and help you determine if you want to just take 2-to-1 reward risk profits. Actually, I had a woman ask me about that the other day. Should I just take 2-to-1 or should I go for bigger reward risks? And she says, because she told me, I've noticed that some of them become really big, and overall, you know, if I just go for those ones, I think I'm doing better. I said, well, do that, because you can, you know, once you got the risk out of your trade, you can go for these bigger moves. Actually, she picked up an 8-to-1 reward risk trade just after that, and I think it was on that pound yen trade that I showed you on the longer term stuff. Anyway, so you can decide on that, or would you rather go for bigger targets? With longer term trading, it just takes more time to get more trades in, you know, under your belt to generate stats. Like you can get them quite quickly with short term trading. And there's lots of other good things about short term trading, but here's a misconception that I need to mention. First of all, you do not need to be glued to your computer in order to trade short term. Like we only trade at key levels of support resistance on higher time frames. And if price isn't at one of those levels, there's nothing to do. So you just set alerts at those levels or just before them and wait for an alert to tell you that you're at a key level. Now you can start looking for a trade. And of course, the other misconception is that you can get rich really quick by getting in and out of trades all day long. In and out, in and out, in and out. Well, usually you're going to get broke really quick doing that. Okay, you must have the discipline and a systematic approach to your trading. I'll give you an example of what I mean. One of the women in our short-term trading, our short-term trading service that I run, is very strict about only trading swing breaks and rotations on just 8 pairs. That's it. Sometimes she'll see that an ACAT also sets up. That's an advanced candle action trading, and all that stuff is included in the service. And her consistency and development has been really impressive to watch, because when you think of short-term trading or scalping, most people think that there are a lot of trades going on all the time, right? Beads of sweat on your forehead, maybe, I don't know, maybe whatever your image is. And that's just simply not the case. So she has developed more and more patience and discipline, and her results show it. She's actually in a long trade today. I'm going to show you this trade, actually. Is that okay? I'm just going to quickly get out of this. I just want to show you what she did today. She, you see, this is the euro-yen pair. And this is a level right here. Can you see that that's support? Like, look at it. That's a great level. It broke it here, and it came back above it here. So at first, we're looking to sell it because it broke below here, came back. And then it came back and tested it yesterday. And this is in my scalp level video. And then on our 4-hour chart, where the heck am I? Right here. See this candle? That's a big clue that we're going higher. So what did she do? She bought a pullback, and she bought it right here at 129.83. And I don't know if she's still in it because there was an FOMC rate release. I know she has no risk in the trade, but that's a great move. You know, gee, that's up 40 pips, I think, or so far. Yeah, about 40 pips from where she got in, and the risk on that trade was 12 pips. So that's the kind of stuff. Now you have to be honest. How would you handle this with the FOMC rate release coming out? Well, Curry spiked down and came all the way back up, and now we're getting into some other stuff. But I just wanted to just show you that what she's doing. Okay, so pretty nice little thing. And like I say, I don't know if she took any more profit up there or not. She's in Australia, so she's probably sleeping right now. But one thing to keep in mind is when you're in a trade and there's red flag news coming out, then you have to know what you're going to do when that happens. Like, we don't take on new trades when there's red flag news, but you can do other things with the trade if you already have one on. Another member from the UK only trades the British pound US dollar. So you can imagine he is laser focused on that pair. He doesn't allow himself to deviate from that one pair, right? And again, his results are really nice. Okay. And by the way, it's not that any of these traders don't have break-even trades or even losses occasionally. Of course, we all do. But they've become really good at trade management, and those are simply the probability losses. Okay, part of the game. Okay. So by the way, I know that you're sick and tired of hearing me say that to be patient and go over things multiple times. I want to show you, this is a comment I saw in Darko's chat room yesterday, and this is why it's so important, and I thought it was a great comment that this guy made here. He said, hey Darko, I just went through the how to find potential market reversals. It's a video, really well explained, clear and to the point. The more I dive into trading, the more I realize how much I don't know, and the more I understand your advice about taking the time to learn it. There are so many small details that can get overlooked when setting up a trade, and to have eyes on all of them takes experience and time. I've said it 1,000 times now, but thanks for your education. Cheers. Darko has a series of videos called Price Action Reading School, okay, which consists of 15 videos. And these are in addition to the new members quick start guide. And honestly, I would challenge anyone to look around on the internet and find a more comprehensive education on price action analysis. It's just like, it's outstanding. And of course, it applies to any time frame combination, right from scalping up to position trading. So it's just more added value to the service that he added in there. So let's take look at a few screenshots of some recent short-term trades, what you would call scalp trades. The word scalping, by the way, I mean, it might mean different things to different people. I just call it all short-term trading. It could be micro scalping up to day trading or whatever. But what I want you to notice is that we use the very same analysis and patterns that you saw a little earlier that Darko uses. There's no difference. So there won't be any confusion between the methodology used in either service. They're basically the same. So this one here, excuse me, just had a cough there. The layout I use on this is I have a weekly chart up in the upper left, a daily chart in the upper right. Then I have a Euro US dollar, or pardon me, a 4-hour chart down here, and then a 15-minute chart here. The entry is the 15-minute chart. The weekly is just to get higher time frame perspective. Look at this. See this level here? That's a weekly level of support, right? It was also a daily level. Now I've got some lines kind of close together here. I don't really like doing that, but I had to be aware of opposing levels. Like there's an opposing level here, and you just have to be aware of it. So if you get into a trade, you can take it. Just make sure there's enough room to make profit. So price comes down, hits this level, and you see this candle on the lower left 4-hour chart right here. That's what we call a pin bar reversal, where the open and close is 50% or higher than the of the candle. Okay, pin bar reversal. Well, that was right here when the 15-minute chart. Okay, it went up. What else did we have? Swing break. See how price went up, and a rotation because it closed higher than here. So that's a really good, strong signal. This was in the New York session because I took this trade, 117.61, and I wrote it up to almost to here. So that was almost a 3-to-1 reward risk trade, and that's kind of a real nice simple setup that you just got to put them on. By the way, this ACAT, this is an advanced candle action trade, what we call advanced candle action, ACAT. You might be familiar with it. We covered this in a webinar we had in August of 2019, and it's actually one of our products for sale on our site. And it's a great standalone course, by the way, on its own. And that one pattern is all you would ever need for trading, no matter what your trading style. But anybody joining our services, we include it in the material, just so you know. Anyway, next on the, here's another one that happened a few days later on the same pair, the euro, and it was the same pattern. Here's the one I just showed you, bottom left. See this 4-hour candle? See that? Look at this one. Here's another one. Well, I don't know if it's going to go up or down, but price action is telling me. See, that's the thing. You don't have to guess. Let the price tell you. Don't think, oh, is it going to stop or not? I don't know if it's going to stop. We'll see. Well, it comes down and up and down. It goes up, has a little swing break, and I bought it right down here. Same price as I did before. And look at what it did this time. Chop, 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 chop. We have rules about this. I got out of this for break even, and then it went up. I could care less. Trust me when I say that, I could care less. This trade management here has saved us so many times, and by getting out for break even and price goes straight down, more often than not, it'll save you. And when you're this long in a trade, you probably are, it's not doing what you wanted to do. And I believe this was on a Friday as well to boot. So I was just as happy just to get out of it. And then this last trade is another one, weekly support on the British pound, Japanese yen, daily support, pretty good, pin bar on the daily, right? And what did it do on the 4 hour? Straight down and straight up. That's a bullish reversal on that thing. That's interesting. Well, it gets really interesting when you go and look at this candle action on the 15-minute chart. It goes below this level a little bit and never establishes below here, and then it goes above, breaks above this swing, and guess what? Comes down, and this is where actually the same woman who I showed you that took that other trade took this trade as well. That's what I mean when I say she's just getting so good. And she rolled this one all the way up to this, let me just show you in the daily chart, this opposing level, not quite up to here. I think we're using this level at the time because that's the next one that we had that we're looking at. So she rolled it up to here for almost a 6.5 to 1 reward risk trade because it needed a 22 pip risk and it was 142 pips on the profit. Okay, so one more thing I want to mention is that on our stops on these, they're a little bit different than what Darko uses. He uses what's called a natural stop. So if you buy here, your natural stop goes underneath here. For scalping, we want really small pip risk stops. So, but they got to make sense. So what we do is we use 15% of the 5-day average daily range. Okay, we call it a volatility stop because sometimes the natural stop is just too far away, but the setup's really good. Okay. So here, and you know, even though we only have 3 patterns, I'm going to give you a super valuable piece of advice. Trade just 1 pair, and you might be able to use all 3 patterns if you're good enough at them. That's like that guy from the UK that trades the British pound US dollar. Or trade just 1 pattern or a few different patterns on that 1 pair, and that's just another way to approach it. Okay, and it just makes it so much easier. So you can just trade 1 pair in different patterns, or you can trade different pairs with 1 pattern. Okay, quick story for maybe you guys don't know this. Darko, and by the way, thanks for hanging in there. I'll get this wrapped up pretty quick here. When Darko came, he was actually a student of mine for years, like a long time ago, and then he came back, and he was I don't know, it might have been 2014 or 15 anyway, and he just was at wit's end. He said, like, I'm not going to trade anymore. I'm done with this. It's cost me way too much, not just financially. Anyway, so he said, I'm done with it. What do you suggest? And I said, he's trying to do all these different things. I said, what do you see easiest? He said, well, I see the Vic trade easiest. The Vic trade's a trade I came up with years. Actually, when I first started at Forex Mentor in 2006, I came up with that. Still a good trade today. I actually know people who use it today successfully. But in any event, I said, well, if you see the Vic trade easiest, just trade that. Stop trying to trade everything else. And you know what? Trade it on 1 pair for 1 year and let me know how it goes. Well, I figured I'd never see him again. Well, I didn't know Darko. He traded the Aussie US dollar, Vic trade only, for 1 year and had outstanding results. And actually, he was showing me his actual live trading account every month. I said, no, you don't have to show me your account, Darko. He says, no, I want to be accountable. I'm going to show you my trading account. I'll show you the trades I took. So I said, okay, sure. And at this point, I had no idea I was ever going to be working with Darko. Well, after that 1 year, he just proved to me, I've never seen, I shouldn't say never, but he is one of those rare people who really decided he was going to do this, and did he ever. So, you know, I was obviously pretty impressed with that. It sort of comes down to this, and like I talked about at the beginning, do you really want to do this bad enough to make it happen? We sure hope so, because we love it and the rewards are worth it. And once you get into it, it's fun. It's not fun when you're not doing well, obviously, okay? And then, of course, you know, you got to put the time in. There's just no getting around that. I don't care if you want to become a doctor or you want to become a good golfer or you want to become a top chef or whatever. You got to learn. You got to put some time in. And you know, Darko and I are definitely, you know, we're here for the long haul. We're willing to put in the education necessary to help you get there, no matter what your trading style is, and the one that's best suited for you, right? So we don't take it for granted that you're putting your faith in us to help you get to a stage 4 level of trading. So we do our level best to not disappoint you, and we do deeply appreciate our members. We really do. They're we just love them. They're you know, the community that we have is really a great group of people, and they're all very respectful in those chat rooms of ours. We just don't have problems in them, and I sure appreciate that. So anyway, here's the pricing part of it. These are the regular prices that we have on our website right now, which in my humble and unbiased opinion, sorry, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I think they're very, very fair for what we're doing and the hours of time that we're putting in each day, because most people don't know that our service isn't just about recording a few videos and that's it. There's a lot of background stuff that goes on. We got to go over all the markets every day, figure out what we want to say about each pair, record it, post it. And then there's, you know, other stuff, YouTube educational videos, podcasts, to Twitter and Facebook posts. I mean, and now Darko's got quite a large following on LinkedIn. So all of these things need constant attention. So I'm just giving you a bit of get to know us better, I guess, inform what we do. But that's what we do. And as I say, I think our regular prices are pretty fair. But we always have this, and that by the way is our yearly, pardon me, our monthly pricing rate here. Okay, you can see it's 97. This is what we regularly have. And then our yearly is this. Okay, $9.97 for either one of our services for the year. I think it works out to $83 a month, if I recall. But our webinar special offer is right there. We have a join link. I'll post that in just a second here. And here's the prices for that. Like, there's a substantial discount. That's $747. If I go back a few slides, it's $9.97. So this works out to $62 a month. And we're not going to, trust me when I say it's not going to go lower than this. Okay, and even at that, this is going to be good till, I didn't put that up here, darn it. It's going to be good till August the 1st. And actually what I'm going to do here, listen, guys, I'm just going to post this and you can do what you wish with this. Let me just go like this. I hope you come and join us. I really do. I really enjoy this, what we're doing. I know Darko loves it too. It's his life. It's his life bread. It's his life, his lifeline. He needs it like oxygen. Guys, yes, you can do monthly, Daniel. Yeah, absolutely. We don't have monthly for any kind of a discount. The monthly is, whoops. Let me go back here. The monthly is right there, 97 a month. Okay, and you can get both services for 147. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Barry. Darko sure does put the work in. These guys. He is not shy on that. I've been to Sweden twice to see him, and actually, Vic Young and I both went. Vic Young is one of the co-founders of Forex Mentor, and we had a great time there with him. He's a really intense guy. Darko, you know, we'd be sleeping. We know Darko's still up at night, you know, going over markets and looking over everything and posting his PMAs and all that kind of stuff. Cameron says, what is your passion for teaching? What is it? I'm not sure what you mean by the question, or why is it maybe? I've always loved teaching. I love working with people and seeing development, and it's just so cool. You know, if you've ever done it, it's very, very gratifying. And, you know, it's like, I did some, and just as at a real minor level, I was doing some coaching for my daughter's soccer teams as well. And, I just loved it. I mean, and they're all different. All the kids are different. There's no, you know, but I really like watching them develop and get better and better, and just having fun. And it's really a really fun thing to do. I think actually in my other life, I would have really loved to be just a teacher. what trading platform do you recommend us to use? Oh, you know what? That's a good question. Here, I'll show you something. We use, so here is the, well, either service. Here's the short-term trading members area here. Down here, we use Telegram. Now, here's a download and installation. And I have a yearly account. I think it's called Pro Plus, and it's, I want to say $2.99 for the year. But is it ever worth it? The charts are really good. And here's a tutorial, a complete tutorial how to set it up. It's pretty easy. I mean, I did it, so yeah, anybody can do it. But Tradingview is what we use. And we have all that information there, yeah. Thanks for that question there, Daniel. Anybody else with a question or a comment or wisecrack? We'll even take wisecracks. You got to have fun. You got to have you got to lighten up and make it, I'm not saying definitely not be lazy or anything like that. Just get your head in the game and have some fun with it. And it's sure a lot more fun when you know what you're doing every day than if you don't. I remember years ago coming into when I first started and trading, sitting there staring at my computer, not really knowing what to do, and then just an idea would pop into my head, so I'd take a trade and it would lose, and gee. So then you're jumping around trying different things. Barry says, I just want to say that the work you do is amazing. Keep pushing. Oh, thank you, Barry. Appreciate it. Yeah, really, really appreciate that. This recording will be sent out to everybody who's here. So yeah. Is the special deal a grandfather rate for subsequent years? Yes, it is, Dennis. Yeah. I trade the DAX every morning and US 30 USA time. Oh, okay, Daniel. Yeah, sure it is. You can look at this stuff. Hey, Jody, so good to see you. Thanks so much. I hope you're enjoying Idaho, and keep in touch. Really nice to see you again. Daniel, I'm joining tomorrow. Perfect. That's awesome. Thanks. Take care, Jody. Yeah, great, Daniel. I just really look forward to having you with us, and just make sure you ask us and questions and things that don't kind of make sense, or you want a little more clarification on something. Absolutely. Yeah. You know what, Daniel, you might think that might be an uncommon story. Believe me, it's very. He just said I've made 7,000 pounds in 2 weeks and lost it all in 2 days. Okay, you know what? I'll tell you one that I did. I made close to. Let me see. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, close to $80,000 in 2 days. I was trading the S&P 500 index, and I lost in the next 2 days about 40,000 of it, and that was a real turning point in my life. I just mentally melted from that loss, right? I mean, the win was fantastic, but the loss was like way more impactful on me than the win was. And I just had to, that's when I really said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to figure out how to trade properly and effectively and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. Do we need to subscribe to a paid data feed for either service? No, there's a data feed included with it. There's, I think, Oanda and FXCM. I have FXCM on mine just because I trade through FXCM in Canada. Yeah, wins and it's okay to. I don't mind losing money. I mean, I'm totally okay with it, but it has to be controlled. It can't be like, those kind of whopping losses I was taking like that, and not having a plan for it. Like it was just kind of, it was really something. Are your subscribers mostly traders who trade Forex? Do you also have investors who also trade Forex? Your service is about trading, not investing, even Darko's long-term approach, correct? Hey, Saeed, how you doing? I didn't notice you in the room. Our service is about Forex mostly, okay? I don't really, the thing is, Saeed, I never really know who is following us or taking our trades in that. It might be someone who's an investor mentality that wants to take a longer term approach. Maybe they're even in a fund. Maybe they run a fund and watch it. Because I tell you, Darko's stuff is very, very applicable for anybody that wants to learn how to reprice action better. When I was a futures broker, you wouldn't believe the, geez, I tell you, it's almost embarrassing. Some of the people that were in our office that were like, they had no clue, not a single clue about anything. It was ridiculous, and they're trading client money, and oh boy, what a racket! I'm glad I'm out of it. I learned a lot as a futures broker, but it was definitely a business that I wanted to get out of, and I actually fortunately met Vic Young while I was at my I was at a Revco Futures was the name of the company. They were the biggest in the world at the time. Anyway, Vic lived in Vancouver as well, and I met up with him, and turns out that they needed somebody to help them, and I didn't want to be a futures broker anymore. I just didn't like the business, and or I didn't like the way it was run. And it all worked out. They said, hey, yeah, we need somebody to come and help us, so that's how I got there. Yeah, companies come and go, but the best stay. Yeah. Well, I've been I really have had such a good time here at Forex Mentor in terms of, you know, doing something I love to do and helping people. And I wish I could say I help everybody. You know, you don't. That's just the way it is. But I've been here since 2006. So I'm in my, 16th year here now. So no, you don't. Dennis says, do we absolutely need to use Tradingview charting, or can we use our existing FX broker? Yeah, definitely you can use your existing one. I think a lot of people use Oanda, O-A-N-D-A, whatever. Paul says, thanks, Vic, great webinar, very thought-provoking and inspiring. Oh, you're most welcome. Thanks, Paul. I really appreciate that comment. Yeah. Yeah, anybody else with a, I use VIBHS in the UK. They're a small company. Okay, just whatever company you use, make sure that you do a bit of due diligence on them and make sure they're not going to, especially for your broker, like don't hand over a bunch of money to somebody who's got a lot of lawsuits going on against them. You know, just check them out. Yeah, because you know, even when I worked at Revco, which is a huge, they were the biggest in the world at the time. They went bankrupt, and people lost their accounts. It was horrible. About a week after I left, this all caved in. Maybe I had something to do with it. No, I'm not that good. Oh yeah, Paul, you used FXCM too. I really like it for your trading platform. I really like FXCM. You know, you hear mixed reviews about it, but they have in Canada where I am, my money's 100% protected. They have what's called the Canadian Investor Protection Fund, CIPF, and your client accounts are insured up to $1 million per account. So pretty good. And when they went broke, my accountant was there, by the way. So I had to, but I had no problem. I got my money, and actually I didn't even take my money out. I just left it and kept trading, and you could keep it, take it out, whatever you wanted. Yeah, and yeah, that's right. I know there's FXCM UK, and yeah, good. Well, folks, I guess we'll wrap it at that. That's an hour, and I know this is a bit longer webinar than we usually do, but I really appreciate you guys showing up here and listening to me yak away here. But if you have any questions afterwards, you know, just shoot me an email, right? I'm Vic Noble at forexmentor.com. And or if you for whatever reason lose it, or you have any other technical questions, you can always send an email to info@forexmentor.com, and somebody will get back to you like really quickly. Okay, so thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You guys all take care. Vic Young, thanks for doing the recording. Shout out to you for all that you do at Forex Mentor as well. So oh, Daniel, sleep time, geez, 3 a.m. for you. Oh man. Well, Daniel, I look forward to having you with us. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, take care, everybody. And let me know if you have any questions. Just shoot me an email, and I'd be more than happy to get back to you. Thanks again.